to Operation Epic Fury. In just a few hours, the U.S. will begin enforcing a naval blockade at the Strait of Hormuz after peace talks with Iran fell through over the weekend.
It totally flips the script. Chief Cub foreign correspondent Trey Yanks is on the ground in Tel Aviv with the latest. Trey.
Yeah, Brian, good morning. We're less than 4 hours away from a U.S. Navy blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump beating the Iranians at their own game. The president taking to Truth Social overnight, saying the United States to blockade ships entering or exiting Iranian ports on April 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, the Strait of Hormuz remains a critical waterway, and the Iranian military today is warning that no Gulf ports will be safe if their own ports are threatened. U.S. Central Command giving some new details on the blockade, saying the blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. The president yesterday speaking about this operation and other countries that could be involved.
Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil, and that will be very effective. But what we want to do is we want to, and again, we don't need it. What we notice and what we see and what I think is maybe my idea, maybe not, I don't know. But there are many boats heading toward our country to fill up with oil and then go and take it. So they're not going to go through the Hormuz Strait. And ultimately, that'll be corrected.
With a focus on Iran, there is also a regional focus on Lebanon, where the Israelis and the Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah continue to trade blows. You can see the aftermath of an Israeli strike here in Lebanon. Hezbollah is continuing their rocket fire over the border. As Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the country's Defense Minister Israel Katz visited southern Lebanon over the weekend, getting a first-hand look at the soldiers who are there on the front lines taking the fight to Hezbollah. They say about 100 terrorists were killed in southern Lebanon in a stronghold very close to the Israeli border. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying this yesterday.
Our enemies, Iran and the axis of evil, came to destroy us, and now they are simply fighting for their survival. We see this in every arena. This is a tremendous achievement of the State of Israel and the Israel Defense Forces, both regular soldiers and our wonderful reservists. The people of Israel salute you.
Just to give you a sense of how active this is, right now there are sirens sounding across northern Israel as Hezbollah continues rocket and drone attacks against this country.
You're going to have a good day when Jerry has the goat memes up and ready to go. What a wonderful way to start a Monday. A lot of good news on the horizon. Ladies and gentlemen, some very good and creepy news right now. Eric Swalwell has dropped out of the California governor's race, and his political career is officially over. We're going to talk about why you shouldn't be congratulating Democrats for this at all. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2026. Trump has enacted a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Uno reverse. Biatch. Eric Swalwell, ladies and gentlemen, is the pariah of the weekend, and we have a lot to say on the matter. We'll say it with two representatives from Congress, Republicans, Andy Ogles of Tennessee and John McGuire, former Navy SEAL of Virginia, will be joining us live. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. AI is creepy. I mean, I got to tell you, we like AI a lot. I have a suspicion that Jerry used AI for that hilarious cold open meme. But it also means that there is going to be a real knockdown in your privacy. You know, like there are some AI models that have been holding people hostage, much like Eric Swalwell has done to sex workers and his own staff. There's been AI that goes and reads all your texts and emails, then catalogs it without your permission, of course, without you even knowing. Again, AI has been able to extort various members of companies that are using invasive AIs. It's been bad. And obviously, without putting the leash on, it's going to end really bad. It'll be the end of privacy as we know it. George Orwell, ladies and gentlemen, but on steroids. Venice AI. Venice AI is the antidote. Venice AI utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. No downloads, no installation, nothing. But unlike other platforms, Venice is private, uncensored, and totally encrypted end-to-end for your conversational history, your browser history, everything. It stays in the AI, and it is completely and totally siloed and private to you. The Venice Pro plan unlocks everything the platform can do. It includes features like limitless text and unhindered images and generation. So total freedom and control. Venice AI. Use the AI without fear, handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government. 20% off. The Pro plan, use my link. Go to venice.ai/Benny. Use the code Benny and enjoy a private, uncensored AI. Venice.ai/Benny. Okay, Elon Musk roasting Eric Swalwell this morning. ALX has these clips loaded up. I don't really want to play them. I don't know. I mean, maybe I guess we should. If ALX has them loaded up, I guess we can. And Eric Swalwell is one of the world's biggest creeps. And by the way, Matt Gaetz' hardest hit. Take that, Matt. Matt was on my program a week ago. You know, simping for Eric Swalwell, a huge L for Matt Gaetz. Whatever, we love Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz was telling us about alien sexual breeding programs, but then also defending Eric Swalwell. So win category, loss category. Alien sexual breeding programs, probably less gross than the videos we now have of Eric Swalwell. Here's Eric Swalwell manhandling, molesting a sex worker in a hotel room. Can't really explain what's going on here because there are clearly tons of dudes in this hotel room. Is one of them Ruben Gallo, the senator from Arizona? Not sure. We have a request into his office to ask if he's the bearded individual here leering over the sex worker, but a clearly intoxicated, inebriated, and drugged up Eric Swalwell groping and grabbing this prostitute. He's married. He has children. Doesn't matter even if he wasn't. Like, this is grotesque behavior. You can see also in the background there are like a bunch of people in the room. So what's going on here? I don't know. But I know that Eric Swalwell has gangbanged his way directly out of office. Eric Swalwell has resigned from the governor's race of California. Now, this comes on the heels of dozens of his staff members coming forward with new assault allegations. He would often prey on his own staffers. It wasn't just sex workers. It's bad enough. I'm not saying it's like, okay, all of it's creepy and weird. What are all the people around in the hotels? And by the way, the taxpayers funded this. Not just because they fund Eric Swalwell's salary. I want you to understand this. Eric Swalwell believed that he could behave like this. Get the other video, too, of him, like mawing at her. Alex, grab the other video. He believed that he could behave like this because of your tax. Let me explain this. This is the most repulsive truth about how Congress actually operates. Eric Swalwell knows that he can do whatever he wants to any woman he wants because Eric Swalwell is protected, indemnified by a little slush fund of members of Congress. There it is, Klein. Thank you. By members of Congress who get paid out sexual assault victims in hush-hush NDAs, and lawyers take care of it for them. This happens with Republicans and it happens with Democrats. I would really like this slush fund, the allegations, all of it to be public. I think the public deserves to know. I am calling right now on the total and complete and full release, end to end, of every single payment that's come from the taxpayers, from you and me, paying for degenerates like this. This is why Eric Swalwell is behaving this way. Eric Swalwell is behaving this way as a member of Congress because he knows that even if this woman sues him, don't worry about it. She's gonna get paid out. A lawyer will swoop in, make her sign something, hand her a bag of cash that you and I paid for, add it to our national debt, and Eric Swalwell can literally get away with this creepy, abusive, and criminal behavior. It's criminal because now we're finding out a ton of stuff about Eric Swalwell. We're finding out that Eric Swalwell was sending unsolicited nudes and dick pics to people, like just like women in his neighborhood. He's every bit as bad as Anthony Weiner or Bill Clinton. We know that Eric Swalwell has all of his staffers calling him to resign. Over 50 former staffers call for the resignation. So there's actual rape allegation, what CNN has is actual rape allegations from staffers who were like, I think 19 at the time. By the way, Eric Swalwell, a male feminist, just a reminder, I'm with her, constantly banging on about Epstein and Brett Kavanaugh and Donald Trump. And this is what I want to say, just kind of off the dome here. Democrats deserve no credit for this. You need to understand the political landscape here and why this is happening to Eric Swalwell. I was working the phones this weekend and calling some people in California politics, and I can tell you exactly why this is happening. Pull up the most recent California polls, please. The ones that include Eric Swalwell as well, please. California has a jungle primary, meaning the top 2 vote getters in the primary process, they're the ones who advance the general election. Well, the top 2 vote getters were going to be Republicans. Eric Swalwell was one of the Democrats in a very crowded field where the Democrat Party was splitting its ticket like 17 different ways. And that was going to be a nightmare for Democrats. Give me the polling, please. This was going to end up in potentially the Republicans gaining the governor's mansion in California. Well, that would be really bad. It'd also be really bad if Eric Swalwell, and the odds are this is what was going to happen, Eric Swalwell became the nominee and then was facing a popular Republican like Sheriff Bianco or Steve Hilton, our friends. And if that were the case, then they could drop this oppo on Eric Swalwell in the general. And that would have been nightmare for Democrats. Then the goose would have been cooked. They would have been stuck with Swalwell. No takesies, backsies, no do-overs. They would have been stuck with Swalwell as their candidate. So look at this poll. This is a perfect example of how this is going to work. It's not just a winner takes all. It's a total jungle primary. Now, there's a good chance that a Democrat and then a Republican would get in there. And I like Steve and I like Chad. So I don't really know. Steve's doing really, really well in the polls. He got the Trump endorsement. But it was, odds are, was going to be something like Steve Hilton versus Eric Swalwell. Well, then in the general, you drop all this oppo on Eric Swalwell. First off, Eric Swalwell's muddying up the race here, preventing other Democrats from running. But then when he gets the nomination, you're stuck with them. So they were going to lose California. This is why they dropped it on Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell was finally going to cost the Democrat Party. He was a net loss for the Democrat Party instead of a net gain. Because he's been a net gain and they didn't care about any of this. And this is why I need to just off the top tell you, you shouldn't be congratulating any Democrat for an exposing here. They knew about this forever. They knew about Epstein forever. They knew about Bill Clinton forever. They wanted to put Bill Clinton back in the White House. They don't care about these sexual assault victims. They don't care less about these women. They feed these women to these men. They did it with Epstein. They do it with Clinton. They do it with Franken. They do it with Eric Swalwell. It doesn't matter to them. They could care less about another mentally ill liberal white woman that gets fed to these monsters. Harvey Weinstein. It's the same thing. It's all the same operation. Harvey Weinstein's fixer is now the first lady of California. They don't care. They only care when they cost them. They fed them to Biden too. Joe Biden was such a leering, sniffing, molesting, all live on camera monster. Nobody did anything. Nobody cared until it started to cost the party. Until the party would be affected, until there would be a negative downstream effect on the party. And hopefully I've just showed you here quickly how that was going to work with Swalwell. Then suddenly they step in and destroy you, right? Has nothing to do with moral. There's no morals, no principles involved here at all. Pure, repulsive power politics. And if the monster is getting them votes and gaining them power, then they'll just let them keep eating. Take the polls down, please. This is why it is so important to call out exactly what is going on here. They didn't say jack when Eric Swalwell was running for president against Trump, going on MSNBC against Trump. When Eric Swalwell was floating every conspiracy theory conceivable against Trump, served 15 years in Congress, 10 years on the Intelligence Committee. Eric Swalwell was running for governor of California. You didn't hear nothing. It was only when they saw absolute doom that they cut his knees out, slit his proverbial political throat. They did the same thing with Biden. Only when they saw doom on the horizon. Biden was fine. Didn't matter. Transgender day of visibility at the White House. Joe Biden being literal comatose corpse in the office. Joe Biden having terminal cancer. They all knew about it. They didn't care. That's a funny one, Klein. This is pretty good. They didn't care. None of the, every Democrat knew Eric Swalwell was doing this. Every single one of them. Only when they did the math and the matrix came back and told, the algorithm came back and told them that this guy's going to cost you, do they throw him into the wood chipper. And they do it overnight. They promoted Eric Swalwell until he was going to cost the party power. So there's no honor amongst these people. So Eric Swalwell has dropped out of the California governor's race. He is still a member of Congress and can still vote. Now, this is, of course, a huge problem. We have a couple members of Congress that I'd like to talk to today about this. I'm going to talk to two Republican members of Congress about what should happen to these various Democrats, because it's not just Swalwell, it's Ilhan Omar. Why the hell aren't we voting to expel her? What about Sherflusis McCormick and all the others? LaMonica McGuire, who assaulted federal officers. Stacey Plaskett, who straight up was taking questions from Jeffrey Epstein live on the dais. Jeffrey Epstein, it's like, Jeffrey Epstein controls politics and controls Trump. Well, I mean, I can't actually a little bit, for sure. But the people who he was actually controlling, the members of Congress who are asking questions at his direction, and we know this as a matter of fact, you can see it, it's historic record, it's on tape, it's on camera. Nothing's happened to them. So why aren't we voting on that exactly? Man, what a mess. What a rat's nest, a witch's kitchen. It's a sick world. We'll see what happens next. We'll see with a member of Congress who we're excited to have on the program, ladies and gentlemen. John McGuire is a Republican from Virginia. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he's going to talk to us about President Trump's masterstroke plan here in the Strait of Hormuz, probably going to be renamed the Strait of America by the time we're said and done with all of this. But the Congressman McGuire joins us live right now. Congressman, what's going on, man? How you doing? Happy Monday.
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you, Benny. Yeah, never a dull moment these days, huh?
Yeah. Okay. So, it's just like, listen, man. If Eric Swalwell can continue, there's like so many ways I want to go with this. If Eric Swalwell can continue to serve in Congress and isn't kicked out of Congress, what does that say exactly about the legislative branch?
Yeah, well, I'm not a cynic, but I got to tell you, I'm getting to the point where nothing surprises me in Congress. It's just crazy. You see something every day that people behave like that. Rules for thee, not for me. And I think you did a good job of running down some of the crazy things that other Democrats have done. So you just say one thing and do another. But I think that his acts are ridiculous. I can't believe he's was running for governor, and I'm glad he stepped down.
Yeah. Okay. So should he get a step down from Congress?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Are you gonna vote to make sure that he does?
I believe Anna Paluna is going to put that vote on the floor. Do you know about this?
Yeah, we've been tracking.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out and see what it's all about. I know we have a process, but certainly I'm leaning that way. I have to read and see what it's all about.
Okay, you're leaning that way. So are you not ready to commit to vote to expel Eric Swalwell?
Well, I'd like to expel him, but I got to see what the circumstances are, because I think I have to go after some Republicans and everything else.
People get really upset when it's just like, it's like, seems like the reason that people like Swalwell is able to operate the way that he does is because of a secret congressional slush fund that pays out sexual assault victims with taxpayer dollars. And then there's all these lawyers that are armed to the teeth to get these women to sign NDAs. And it's like its own like little Epstein operation inside of Congress. And then it's both parties and it's both members. And so I'm calling for the list of people that utilize this to be made public and how much money has been paid out. I think that's pretty grotesque. What do you think, Congressman?
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I voted for that. I voted for those records to be public a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Well, okay. What do you think? Can you tell us more about that? Like do I have that correct? Right? There's a congressional slush fund that just takes care
Well, I've been there 14 months, which is no excuse. It's not something I've dealt with, so I don't know the details of it. But I think it's ridiculous that does exist, and it should. The American people deserve transparency, and if people are committing these terrible acts, they shouldn't be in Congress. I mean, it should be. To me, I consider it every day an honor to continue service to our great nation in Congress. And geez, it's such a busy job. How do people have time to do anything but the right thing?
Yeah, well,
we got a country to save.
Yeah. Okay. So you would be in favor of I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with the vote of like ending this practice and then exposing how much money has been paid out to various people and by which members of Congress.
Yes, I'd be in favor of that. And really the way the vote went, it was really tricky because you had to vote no. So because they had, I can't remember the exact term for it, but you had to vote no because they tried to stop you from exposing it. So I got some text messages saying like, why'd you vote no? But if you look at the people like Anna Paluna and myself and others who voted no, then you'll understand.
Can you pop up that article, please? Thank you. Let's see. House votes 357 to 65 to keep congressional sexual harassment records sealed. Okay.
Yeah.
In rare bipartisan move. Got it. 357 to 65. So you were one of the 65.
Correct. But
good for you.
You can see where people would be tricked.
Good for you. Yeah. What a mess. What a nightmare. Okay, just real quickly here, since we're doing some house cleaning in Congress. What about Sherflyless McCormick? She's from Florida. That's where I live. She embezzled millions of dollars. She was indicted for embezzling millions of dollars from FEMA. And she's still there voting right alongside you. I feel kind of gross.
It drives me nuts. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's better than the best financial planners in the world.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. And you know what I hear all over my district every day is we want to see people in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And I told Pam Bondi, when she was there every day, every time I saw her, we want to see people in handcuffs. I'm a big President Trump supporter. They shot him. They tried to put him in jail. They went after his kids and everything else. And he's done nothing wrong. And these people who clearly have done something wrong are not being held accountable. And when I talk to people in the DOJ, they say, well, if we arrest these people right now, it won't stick. But if you give us time to do it right, then it'll stick. So I don't trust it. I'm going to do the best I can, impact the situation as best I can. But I feel your frustration. I'm frustrated as well.
We just want to ask the right questions. We feel like there's a downstream cultural consequence when you ask the right questions. You end up eventually getting the right answer. People in handcuffs, that's what people in your district, it's the 5th district, right? Is that correct?
Virginia 5th district. It's the
God's country?
Yeah, it's the gateway of the Bill of Rights. Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, James Madison, James Monroe. The Civil War ended at Appomattox County, Appomattox Courthouse. As we celebrate 250, it's the best district.
Yes. Okay. So what says your district about handcuffs? Who would they like to see in handcuffs? We almost had Letitia James and James Comey in handcuffs in Virginia, but then whoop, that one got away.
Man, the list goes on and on. I mean, look at Minnesota. We talked with probably $9 billion. One constituent said, I don't know if I'm paying taxes or paying criminals. $9 billion, which is outrageous. And now look at California. They think it's $139 billion. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. Thank God we got rid of USAID, all those NGOs that were formed by Soros. You know, people say Soros gives Democrats a lot of his money every campaign. He's really giving them your money through these NGOs that are just a total scam. But we shut them down. And Speaker Mike Johnson said for the first time in 2 quarters, the Republicans have actually raised more money nationally than the Democrats because they were getting their money through back channels through these NGOs, which were part of USAID.
So why don't we talk about shutting a couple things down, shutting down the Strait of America? Can I call it the Strait of America? I don't know. It's just like, why not? At this point, why not be incendiary? You're a former Navy SEAL, and they say you guys never really retire. So you got to have some hot blood on this issue. Just a real quick takeaway. I think that is genius. And I think that Trump was obviously practicing sort of the art of war here, and knowing that the peace negotiations would collapse. He showed the world that he wanted to operate in good faith. They played their only card. Trump goes Uno reverse. And now it's going to cost the Iranians something like a couple billion a day. Like their entire economy is based solely on these ports operating and people being able to trade commodities with them. And so what this is going to do, the ramifications this is going to have and has already had on the energy flow around the world has been totally remarkable. So I think it's great. Anyway, I'm no expert and I'm not a Navy SEAL. So Congressman, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, to our men and women in the military right now, certainly have 13 fallen. And as we mourn them, we have to finish the job. We have to live a life where they're sacrificing. What I can't stand, and I think all of my fellow veterans can't stand, is politicians playing politics while over what we're doing in the Middle East. Right now, we have men and women in harm's way, and we need to wear one jersey, USA. We support you. What you're doing is important, and that should be the message, the only message. But President Trump is 10 steps ahead. Always. You know, think about Washington, D.C. People got used to Washington, D.C. being one of the murder capitals of the world. And there has only been a few murders in a year. It used to be 2 or 3 murders a week. I had a young girl tell me that she would take an Uber if she had to walk 2 blocks. Now she walks 20 minutes to work back and forth each day. President Trump he said, I'm not getting used to D.C. being a murder capital of the world. People got used to Iran being the #1 state sponsor of terror, killing American soldiers, American citizens, and terrorizing the world for 47 years. He said, I'm not getting used to it. And he's taken out their command and control, their ability to project power. And then, like you said, with a masterclass strategic move, he's blockading. I think it started 35 minutes ago. He's blockading the strait. And now he's becoming the United States is becoming the leader of energy in the world. When you look at CCP China, I mean, everything that he's doing is 10 steps ahead, and it's exciting time to be living.
I just asked my team to create a blockade meme because I think like we should celebrate this. You know, we should celebrate like what's going on right now because it is in effect what 10 a.m. Yes, that's right, 35 minutes ago. So what downstream effects is this going to have? This is obviously going to hurt China, I believe, the most, but it's also going to have a net energy inflow to the United States of America as tankers from around the world have now redirected towards our coasts and the actual Gulf of America to fill up. Are you seeing this effect, Congressman?
Definitely. You know, President Trump is not only making America great again, he's making the world great again. And the energy, you know, and what he did in Venezuela, you know, perfect example of why socialism sucks is Venezuela. When I was a Navy SEAL doing counter drug missions, every country, South Central America, the one country we thought was clean, safe, and as Trump would say was beautiful, was Venezuela. You would go to a restaurant and there would be Ferraris and Lamborghinis out front. And then Chavez came in, brought in socialism. It made everyone poor. They went from like 14 oil refineries to 1 owned by the state. And people started eating out of trash cans and going into prostitution. And that's why I see these liberal campuses where Americans, students and professors are singing praises to socialism. It never works. It ends up with hundreds of millions of people killed. President Trump is turning the ship around. He's turning our country around for a better future for not just all Americans, but the world. And I would tell American people, be patient. I looked it up today. The average gas price in America right now is $4.13. But if you look at under Biden in 2022, it was up over like $5.14. So even though prices have gone up a little bit, it's still almost $1 less than it was under Biden. But if you be patient, right now with the working family tax cut, the one big beautiful bill that's kicking in right now, people are about to receive the largest tax refund in American history. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and jet fuel on this American economy. You're going to start to see cranes all over the country. Things are building. And we brought in, but President Trump, I give him the credit, great businessman, great leader, has brought in $20 trillion of investment, which is record in our country. You think about NAFTA, 95,000 businesses left our country, which was the stupidest thing in the world. It devastated local economies all over my district and the country. And now people are investing and doing business all over our country. We're getting there. Be patient. We got a great leader in the White House.
So you just went off on socialism, yet your state's gone socialist. Abigail Spanberger and the Democrats in Virginia are dead set on wrecking that state. Everything from gun confiscation laws to tax increases to transing the kids to stealing parental rights. It's horrible. Like, what the hell is going on in Virginia, Congressman?
Yeah, she's the bait and switch governor. She ran as a moderate, but she actually, if you look at her congressional record, no emotion, just facts. She voted to the left of AOC and the left of Omar on many things, but she sold herself as a moderate. Then she gets in there. She also ran on law and order. The first thing she did is she says, we don't want our law enforcement in Virginia to cooperate with federal officers, which, you know, puts the officer's life in danger, the community's in danger, and the criminals. I don't know why of all the 50 governors, she wants to emulate Tim Walz, because you can see what happened in Minnesota. Also, she said on affordability, she ran on affordability. As soon as she got in there, she proposed over 50 new taxes, but then she voted to give them a 300% pay raise. So she did run on affordability, just not for we the people, but for those Democrat leaders in Virginia. Also on gun rights, it's our God-given right to protect ourselves and our family. I don't know what part of shall not be infringed she doesn't understand, but she's proposed 20-some new laws to hamper or infringe on your Second Amendment. But I found out that President Trump has a Second Amendment task force. And if you remember recently, they just overthrew a big law, anti-gun law in California. So I went to them and I said, has anyone in Virginia reached out to you? And they hadn't. So I gave them a list of all these egregious laws, and I will be working with them every day to overturn these unconstitutional gun grabs. But yet we got a real problem in Virginia right now. We've got 8 days. They're trying to illegally, unconstitutionally redistrict us. Right now, Virginia votes 50-50 Republican Democrat. So we have 6 Democrat congressmen, 5 Republican congressmen. And Abigail Spanberger, we have all kinds of videos of her saying gerrymandering is terrible. But now she's supporting an effort to gerrymander Virginia so that you have 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. Where Virginia goes, so goes the nation. If we lose in 8 days, this could be the midterms. So I'm asking everybody to call, text, email your friends to vote no to unfair maps. In Virginia, 8 days, vote no to unfair maps.
Yeah. Don't let creepy little CIA urchins run your state. It'll run it right into the ground. Yeah, bad news for the state of Virginia. It's a beautiful state, though, and where John McGuire's from, it's particularly beautiful, Americana, and lovely, and I hope that it stays that way. Thank you, Congressman. Everybody follow Congressman John McGuire, a patriot, and, well, we want you to keep your district, so, yeah, vote against it. Thank you, Congressman.
Yes, sir. I'm in the fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate the Blockade Day. Blockade Day. We have a meme for that. We must celebrate it. We should have done maybe like a countdown, although we started the show a minute after the blockade went into effect. So, like blockade meme. Let's go.
Never concede to threats.
Copy that. Weapons free.
never concede to threats.
Copy that. Weapons free.
Happy Blockade Day. Oh no. Okay, well done. Happy Blockade Day to those who celebrate. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to block an enormous amount of stress out of my life. That's not possible. It's just the path that we've chosen. You probably have chosen the same path. That's just what you got to do when you are hustling and grinding and successful in this world. Bond charges, red light, face mask. Make sure that I can block at least a little bit of stress. At the end of the night is when I use this. It's wonderful for wrinkles, face lines, acne, razor burn. Got some of that this morning. Relaxation, though, is what I'm really searching for. It's a little, we live a high intensity life, and I want to chill out at the end of the night. The Bond Charge Red Light Face Mask helps you in a holistic wellness strategy that gives your body exactly what it needs right before bed. That's when I use it. The Red Light Face Mask from Bond Charge will help you feel euphoric and relaxed before bed so you can sleep soundly. That is a blessing. It's a blessing in the scriptures. It says so. Go to bondcharge.com/Benny. Use the coupon code Benny. Save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/Benny. Use coupon code Benny to save 15%. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read to you President Trump's most recent Truth Social about Iran's Navy. Iran's Navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit is their small number of fast attack ships because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere near our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated and yeeted off the face of the earth. Got it? Got it? Fresh? Savvy? Using the same systems to kill that we use against drug dealers and drug boats at sea. It's quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of the drugs coming to the United States by ocean have stopped. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is President Trump's response. It is the Uno reverse card that he played on Iran. And it's completely genius, and it's something that we are really, really proud to have seen and witnessed as a total strategy. We have something remarkable that's happening right now. Resetting of the global economic order and energy order. Show them the ships, Klein! I want to see the maps. I want to see 50 different maps right now of every single ship that is pouring into our ports. Every tanker on Earth, these are giant tankers, 2 million barrels each, carrying their capacity to the United States of America, straight into the Gulf of Mexico. Was this part of the strategy from the beginning? Well, of course it was. This is something that the administration has most likely already thought through as they created an ecosystem. Klein, you were just on it, bro. Klein, you're just on it. You literally just clicked. There you go, buddy. Okay, there you go, buddy. There you go. Look at this. Look at it. Look at them go. Look at every single container ship. And ALX, I know that there's 50 more of these, so let's load them up. And I want to show you the actual maritime mapping from around the world of every ship on Earth heading to our coastline, to our refineries, to get our oil and the Venezuelan oil that's now being refined here in the United States of America. 50% of China's energy travels through the Strait of Hormuz. Virtually none of our energy resources travel through the Strait of Hormuz. We don't need them. But as America decides to become the world superpower once again, the major way to do that is to create choke points on the resources that your enemies need the very most. And the thing that you need the most is energy. Energy is weapons. Energy is the security of your own nation. Energy, a dollar is energy. That's what backs the dollar. It's not bullets, it's not gold. It's literally energy. It's called the petrodollar. The dollars are traded in oil. Oils are traded in dollars. If you wish to control the future of the planet, you need to control compute. All wars are going to be fought with AI and with drones. They already are. This isn't some space age like future that we're going to be looking for. This is something that's happening right now. In Ukraine and Russia, for instance, 90% of the casualties are now drone casualties in that war. And that's what's going to happen in the future from here on out. The people with the best AI, the people with the strongest AGI and the strongest drone armies, the strongest predictive compute on the battlefield will win. They'll dominate space, they'll dominate other planets, they'll dominate the globe. If you want that to be your country, which I do, then you need to make sure that other countries can't have that. Now, to get compute, you need an unbelievable baseload amount of power. To get that power, you're going to have to import an enormous amount of energy if you're a place like China. China is the only country that even comes close to competing with us on this scale, and we've talked about it ad abstentium on this show. So you want to choke out China's ability to create power. Now, they're building infinity number of solar farms, something that America needs to sort of like wrap its head around. How do we harness that? Along with nuclear power, we should be building 1,000 nuclear reactors around this country. But the reality is that in our generation and in subsequent generations, nothing will be able to replace fossil fuels, and China is now starving for them. With the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, you have now officially reset the energy tables around the world. Maps again, please. You can see that every tanker, I want to see like the big broad. I want to see the big broad outscope. Yeah, these are all awesome. It's in Danny's production yesterday. I want to see the global outscope, the global mapping. You can see that every tanker on Earth is headed towards America right now. You can see tankers actually do a U-turn around the Horn of Africa and head right back toward America. This is something that is changing the globe and changing the economics of the globe forever. China was buying subsidized oil from Iran. That was the point of that relationship, that Iran would sell them sanctioned oil for pennies on the dollar. That could help China's baseload AI capacity and build. If China wants to take Taiwan anytime this century, they're going to need that. They're going to need to project that strength. They can't do it without any oil. They can't do it without any AI. They won't be able to keep up with America. And so that is the desperate race right now against America, which is decided to not only take the world's largest proven crude reserves in Venezuela and then go, and you can see Venezuela in this map, go and literally refine that in the most sophisticated high-capacity refinement in the world, which is on the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of America. But then also now by choking out the Strait of Hormuz and by choking out Iran, you have effectively stalled. Look at this. There it is. Beautiful. Look at every tanker in the world in a beeline to America. Every tanker on Earth is right now going as fast as humanly possible to our country. Is Ogles up and ready? Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. Absolute patriot from Tennessee, Andy Ogles. This is a total and complete resetting of the globe. Now, we are happy, we're thrilled to have been very early on this. We told you this move was about China, and we told you this 5 weeks ago, and we have the timestamps. And now it's been proven true. And so lock in, patriots, and remember, this is part of the plan. This is a masterclass execution by the president. This blockade is going to be similar to what happened in Venezuela. Trump says that Iran is extorting the world. They knew that the peace agreements would fail, and now Trump has reversed them back into the stone. Again, it's important to remember exactly how much Iran is losing in this gambit. How much is Iran losing every single day? Well, we have a post for that. And do you have it loaded up, Klein? If not, then let's go ahead and Go ahead and grab it right here. What does Iran lose every single day? The naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will cost Iran $276 million per day in lost exports and disrupt $159 million in import, a combined economic damage of $500 million a day. That's $13 billion per month. That's 90% of Iran's annual trade transits the Persian Gulf. Oil, gas accounts for 80% of government export earnings and GDP. Karg Island alone generates $53 billion a year. This is close to $100 billion in revenue for Iran that President Trump has just shut down. What happens next? Hyperinflation of the currency. No one inside of it, you can drink the oil, you can eat the oil for all we care. No one in Iran will be able to operate, will be able to live. It's the grounds to have people overthrow the government. It's precisely what they did in Venezuela, and that's worked out actually just peachy for us. So we like it, ladies and gentlemen. Does Andy Ogles like it? The congressman from Tennessee joins us live now. Let's go. Sorry, Congressman, my team was a little late to telling me that you were set and ready. My apologies. I'm just like, just banging away. We love being right on these things.
Well,
we said this was about China. Yeah, please.
I was going to say, I was enjoying the show, so no need to apologize. But you're literally hitting the nail on the head. I mean, everything you said was accurate. The intelligence was pointing this direction. There's a complete and total visible nexus between Venezuela, Iran, and China. And what the president did was really put the Chinese economy on the ropes because they're now having to buy oil at market price versus embargoed oil.
Yes, and we love to see that. We also want to see America win. I'm perfectly happy to be a fan of the American empire.
Amen.
Yeah, we cheer for it. Join the empire. I'm totally on that. I'm totally on the side of Darth Vader. If Elon builds us I asked actually the head of NASA if he's got a Death Star that they're working on. And he gave me a non-answer. So we're just going to, a boy can dream. Okay, so your dreams have been to kick out nightmarish, criminal members of Congress from our country, in the case of Ilhan Omar, or at the very least from Congress. So I'd like to start with Eric Swalwell this morning, Congressman. What should happen to him now that it's been proven on videotape that he is a leering, very rapey, very creepy criminal? There are criminal now investigations against him. What should happen?
Yeah, I mean, it not should happen, will happen. There's going to be expulsion articles. My guess is they drop tomorrow against him, and I think they'll succeed. I think there's multiple Democrats, I can't name them per se, have said that they would sign on, and so I would expect him to be gone as well. So, look, the allegations of rape are consenting adults is one thing, but when you're targeting, you're a predator and you're raping young women, let's hang them. Rapists should be hung. Period. No questions. And so now I don't want the Secret Service to come. I'm not talking about Eric Swalwell. I'm not threatening a member of Congress. But the point is we got to say enough is enough. We can't allow this type of behavior. And I'll point this out that I would argue that the leadership in the Democratic Party knew that he was behaving this way, and it was only because he was in the way in the governor's race that they took him out.
Yes.
But they weren't worried about protecting women. They were worried about taking him out.
Some of these allegations, Congressman, were from 2019,
right.
2017. They let him run for president. They let him go on MSNBC every second of the day. He was on the Intel committee for 10 years. He served in Congress for 15 years. What's that?
He's on Homeland Security. I served on committee with him. And now he's never there because he's been running for governor. But I mean, Intel, Homeland Security, he has access, as chairman. And so I think about this for a moment. As chairman of one of the committees on Homeland, I get access to classified information that most members of Congress don't get. And because he's on Intel, he's seeing the same information. And this is the guy that slept with the Chinese spy. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is some breaking news. You're saying that you hear that other Democrats are going to be voting in order to expel him from Congress. Any idea what number?
I have no idea. I'll know better once we get to D.C. But I think the train has left the station. I think the videos, the allegations, there's so much corroborating evidence. And you always want to give someone their due process, their day in court. But the overwhelming evidence against Swalwell is, quite frankly, he should resign.
A couple of members of Congress, I was chatting with them this weekend, and they said, listen, the reason why Swalwell behaves like this is because he knows that there is a protection mechanism for him in Congress. It's called congressional privilege, with a massive taxpayer-funded slush fund that funds lawyers and NDAs and pays out the victims of sexual crimes. And members of Congress use it. Not every member of Congress, but whenever there's something that could potentially threaten a member of Congress, it gets taken care of. And Eric Swalwell can behave like this because he knows he's just going to be taken care of by the American taxpayer. That's like worse than Epstein, in my opinion. I mean, that is utterly grotesque. Should the people that make that use that, should those payments be made public? Should the American taxpayer find out about it? Should that exist at all, Congressman?
Yeah, I mean, so there was actually an effort just a few weeks ago. It was led by Ana Luna and Nancy Mace to reveal the folks who have benefited from that slush fund. I was one of the few Republicans who voted to release the information. But yeah, so there was actually an attempt to bring that into kind of the public view, and it was killed, quite frankly, by leadership.
Oh, that's unbelievable. So we have actually the article right here, voting 357 to 65. To keep the records sealed. That sucks, man. That's just a bad look for anyone in Congress.
Yeah. And I was one of the 65 that voted to release information because, people have a right to know. And look, again, consenting adults, that's one thing. But when you're a predator and you're hiding behind one of these pins, that's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so is that what happened? Can you unpack this for us? Because most people are like, there's no way that's real.
Look, I kind of live a solitary life in D.C., so I don't get invited to all the the fun parties. I make it a point to FaceTime my kids in the evening before they go to bed, and so that kind of gives me an accountability to go home and to be with my family by way of FaceTime. And so, I don't get to see that side. I don't want to see that side of Congress, but I'm sure it exists. But that's true anywhere, right? If you're looking for trouble, whether you're on vacation, you're in a city, you're in college, you're in Congress, you can find it if you want to find it. I'm one of those that just chooses to go up there, I do my job, I FaceTime with my family, I go to bed, and I get up and I rinse and repeat. And so for these folks that are preying on these young, and look, I would not let my daughter work in D.C. knowing that there's these kinds of folks up there preying on these young girls. Again, the one young woman is saying that she was intoxicated and she was raped at least on 2 separate occasions. I mean, come on, I've got a daughter. I mean, you have kids. Of course. That's under no circumstances is that acceptable. Member of Congress or not. Yeah, no, and I lived in D.C. and I witnessed this behavior. I just couldn't believe, frankly, the grotesque privilege and just the overt leering and drunken. Lindsey Graham's drunk every day, on the side of the street. I mean, there's videos of, it's he's all constantly walking around. There's just this feeling there's a feeling in DC that permeates. There's I'm untouchable. I can do whatever I want, right? And I think that needs to be knocked down and knocked down hard. I think you'll see at least 2, if not 4 members of Congress expelled this week. Wow. Can you unpack that? Is it who's that? Is it going to be Sherflusis McCormick? Right. That's right. Corey Mills will likely have one against them, and then Tony down in Texas. And then Swalwell. So it'll be. And then Swalwell. That's right. So it'll be scalp for scalp. So 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. 2 and 2. That's right. So I think Swalwell is almost certain to happen. Whether or not the rest happen, we'll see. Okay. What about Ilhan Omar? So now we go to some of my immigration bills, and should she be denaturalized? So the vice president has made public statements that she committed immigration fraud. So my first piece of legislation on our show. That's right.
Proud of that.
First piece of legislation restricted immigration, or it would have to pass in the Senate, but restricts immigration from countries, the ones you would assume, right? Middle Eastern countries, Venezuela, places in South America and Africa that don't do proper vetting. Like, they literally don't know who these people are. They're sending them here. So there's that. So we've got to know who's coming in. My Assimilation Act, which ends the H-1B visas, ends chain migration. There's a character component to it. So if you're a member of a gang or some nefarious affiliation, we can simply say no. Oh, by the way, we can say no already, but we don't. And so, again, bringing accountability to immigration. And then the next one that we'll be rolling out, we've been working with the White House on this, is to put more teeth in the denaturalization process so that we can start denaturalizing these people who came into the country like Mom Donnie under false pretense, and we denaturalize and kick them out of this country.
So that, begs a pretty fascinating question, which is, should people who weren't born in America be able to serve in Congress? I think there's a lot of people that are asking that question, because there's quite a few actually that are on who are judges. I was astonished to find that the number of members of the judiciary who were not born in this country, who are sitting here ruling and judging over us. Same thing as members of Congress like Ilhan Omar. Would you be in favor of rolling that out back?
Absolutely. I mean, under our current Constitution and legal framework, you can serve as a judge. You can be a member of Congress. I don't think our founding fathers ever intended for individuals from hostile nations serving and leading the nation. But that being said, but that's the problem, right? The immigration reform really hasn't happened in a positive way for 60 years. And so we've got to take back control of immigration, quite frankly, stop it altogether, and then get back to this idea. If you and I want to go to the UAE, we've got to have a job. We have to have a way of supporting ourselves. We can never vote. We can never become a citizen. Oh, and if we break their laws, after we serve time in their jail, they're going to kick us out of the country. It's very common sense. Like, this is not complicated, folks. This is not rocket science. It's our country. We get to decide who comes in, and we get to decide who has to leave. I'm proud of that fact.
Yes. So if you had your way, and if your bills passed, can you explain what immigration to America would look like?
It would halt, quite frankly. But that's okay. I mean, we're barreling towards $40 trillion in debt. I mean, when you look, I've got some stats here. So if you look at Afghanis that came in here, right, roughly 45% of Afghanis are 45% are on food stamps. 68% of Afghanis are on Medicaid. So they're from a foreign country. They come here and they immediately get free food and free health care. Meanwhile, the suicide rate amongst our veterans is still 20 to 22 per day. Meanwhile, we have kids that don't have books. Meanwhile, we have American citizen kids that don't have food. And we're feeding people from third and second world countries that come here, they don't work, they rape and they pillage, and they take money from you and I. I'm done. I've had enough.
I think that the vast majority of Americans agree with you. I think, you talk to people who actually did immigration the right way. They're radicalized on this, quite frankly, because the freeloaders that ruin it for everybody, and it's repulsive. It's something that you can't ever. It's gonna collapse. I mean, it is eventually going to destroy the entire country. In the culture. And if we can bring ourselves back from the brink, the only way to do so would be zero migration. You have to stop the problem. You want to fix your lung cancer, stop smoking first, maybe, would be a good first step.
So true story. So I guess it's two and a half weeks ago now, I spoke at an event. I won't name the county because I don't want to out anybody, but literally had a younger couple. They've gone through the process. They've become citizens. It took them about 10 years, right? They were Latino, and they literally were like, hey, just to your point, they're sick and tired of people coming here illegally. They're committing crimes. They're making their community look bad. And they literally were turning in or letting me know where there was this kind of safe house where all these illegals were living, committing crimes, et cetera, et cetera. So you have someone from the Latino community saying, we've had enough. Please help our community and get these illegals out because they're committing crimes where we live. And then they make us all look bad. Not to mention they're preying upon people. Yes,
it's awful. It's entirely broken. No sane land, no land that wants to survive. It's totally suicidal. It says a lot about your society, about like what you think of yourself and your native people. when you allow this to happen to them. And it's a choice. It's a choice. We need to start locking up the politicians too, by the way, who allowed for this.
And look at Europe. Look what's happened in Europe. So again, if someone wants to say, Andy's radical, he's too conservative on immigration. By the way, I'm proud of the fact that I'm conservative on immigration. But you look at London, 40% of sex crimes are committed by foreigners, most of which are Muslims. 83% of non-EU crime is committed by, quite frankly, Muslims. We look at Sweden, 80% of the rapists are foreign-born. Most of them are from Afghanistan. And so you just go down this list and you can look at London, you can look at Paris, you can look at Rome, again, look at the country of Sweden. You can look at these countries that have been overrun by migrants, most of them from Africa, most of them Muslim, and they are literally raping and pillaging their way through these cities. And you have areas in Paris and London in particular that are no-go zones, not only for you and I, but the police can't go there. Now imagine that. Sovereign nations. Metropolitan city, say Nashville, right? Or Chicago. And the police are not allowed in those communities because they've taken over. We can't allow that to happen here. I will not let that happen here.
It's going to happen here. Okay, so what it will happen here unless we do something drastic. So what would be, so the drastic measures would be in your bills, right?
That's right.
To prohibit, to do much stricter immigration enforcement, denaturalization and deportations?
Absolutely, 100%. Now look, I understand that this is going to take time to get passed, but we're starting the conversation. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to back down. And by the way, every time that you have a crime committed against an American by an illegal, it just proves my point. You can look at all of the victims, some of these high-profile cases. These young women should be alive, but they're dead. They were raped and they were murdered at the hands of illegals. Violent crime, violent criminals. Look, when you import murderers and rapists from third world countries and they come here, they're not becoming doctors and lawyers, folks, right? They're criminals.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
The people who imported them were Joe Biden, his administration. They did it on purpose. They did this to us on purpose. You could call that accessory to murder. There's like a murder every single day. There was one just down the street from me with a hammer, a Haitian that should have never been here. A Haitian who's like here, like, 70 IQ, who like just goes and just kills someone with a hammer in the street. It's all on video. Like there's absolutely it's indefensible why that Haitian should be in my society, near my children, near where I live. It's indefensible. But Mayorkas, Joe Biden, his administration, a bunch of bureaucrats and DHS decided to do that. They did it on purpose, Congressman, to put my family in danger. What should happen to them? We need tribunals for politicians, honestly, who decided on these policies.
Well, so one of the questions would be why. I mean, there's nothing about that that's common sense. But at the end of the day, this is about power and control. So what you've seen, so look at California. You've had population flight out of California into conservative states like Tennessee, like Texas, like Florida. And so if we were to do a recount, the census midway through, and you're not counting illegals, only American citizens, and you did a true census, California would lose House seats. At the end of the day, this gets back to the House of Representatives. So what the Joe Biden administration did, they literally flooded our country and they sent the majority of these illegals into states like Indiana, like New York, like California that had all of this population flight. The blue states, right? All of these states that are going to lose seats in the census. And if we were to do a recount of the census and we actually did it the legal way, the House of Representatives would be controlled by the Republicans for the next 20 years. There's no way the Democrats could recover, but they lie, they cheat, and they steal. And that, at the end of the day, this is what this is about.
How many seats do you think Democrats have stolen through this method?
At least 24, at least.
Okay, 24. Okay, just real fast, Congressman, to finish this. So you talked through some of the Democrats that might get kicked out of Congress this week. In a righteous world, with Andy Ogles as leader of the House of Representatives, right, as Speaker of the House, what would happen to Ilhan Omar? And how would you prevent an Ilhan Omar from having a seat in Congress ever again?
Well, that gets back to the naturalization. So again, we know that she committed immigration fraud. Regardless of being a member of Congress or not, that should be pursued. And so if you do that, then she can be denaturalized and she could be deported. Mamdani, he lied on his immigration forms. I mean, I've gone after him. I actually wrote a letter to the Justice Department saying, like, we have proven, we have documented where he did not fully divulge his activities, his links to the Communist Party, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a section on the 990 that talks about that. And so he could be denaturalized and deported. Now, they have to have the will to do it, which is why I'll be offering legislation that strengthens the denaturalization process, that puts more teeth into it, and really creates more kind of an impetus on the government to go after these folks.
You think Ilhan should be kicked out of Congress too?
Absolutely. 100%. She hates America. She hates you. She hates me. She should be gone. Mamdani shouldn't be mayor of New York.
Yes. Well, you know what, Congressman? It's early. It's early in the season, but I already have the Christmas present that I know I'm going to send to you in your office, which is going to be all of Ilhan Omar's fake wine. We should actually start that. I should white label like Ilhan Omar wine. I should do that. You know, like haram wine for Ilhan Omar.
Exactly.
So man, it's unbelievable. $5 million this fake company's worth on her congressional disclosure form.
You know, I don't know, but, you know, maybe we should open one of those Somali daycares because apparently those are profitable as well.
Yeah, the feeding our future scam.
That's right.
Entirely. I had no idea that she's the one who passed that bill. She passed the bill to lower the actual oversight of how the federal government was paying for foods. And this is how you got feeding our future. Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, Congressman, we just want to say thank you. Obviously, a patriot, a fighter. I'll never forget you coming up to me at John Rich's house, being like, "Yo, what's up? I'm the new congressman from around here. We're gonna kick the doors in." And I was like, "All right, let's see." And boy, you showed us. So thank you, Congressman Andy Ogles. Follow him. He's got 120,000 subscribers. And he's just one of those. He's just one of those absolute brawlers that you need up on Capitol Hill. Godspeed, Congressman.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a surprise for the show that we're thrilled about right now, which is Congresswoman Nancy Mace joining the program. She's doing this because I just sort of got this instinct that there are like a few members that are just so strong on this issue, and I wanted to just reach out to the Congresswoman to see, and her staff incredibly made her available so that she could pop on here in this sort of Eric Swalwell super cycle, because she's been the one absolutely banging her fist on the table on this issue more than any single person alive. So it's our honor to have her on the program. She's getting set right now. The Congresswoman's getting set right now. It's our honor to have her as a surprise guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no idea if she'll be joining from her Patriot Mobile device, but Patriot Mobile is how you stay locked and loaded in America's 250th anniversary. The right direction of the country right now. Make sure you're supporting companies that support you. Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the world. For more than 12 years, they have stood with Americans who want freedom and freedom of speech. Those have been tough 12 years, by the way. Government censorship, some of the worst attacks on free speech we've ever seen in this nation. Patriot Mobile stood by us and will stand by you through it all. 100% U.S.-based customer support team can get you switched over today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT, use promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And checking in on the team, yes, ready to rock. Well, it is our absolute honor to have Congresswoman Nancy Mace. And let me just say one more time. When it was very, very lonely in Congress on this issue, when no one was talking about it, when nobody was blowing the whistle, nobody was pointing and saying, look at these monsters and what they're doing, Nancy Mace was the one, a very lonely voice, saying, this is happening. These predators like Eric Swalwell are taking advantage of congressional privileges, taking advantage of slush funds. We need to end it and end it now. She's somebody who caused Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton to get, let's just call it, hot under the collar. And she is vindicated more than I think any member of Congress today. More than any one member of Congress who will beat their chest and talk about Swalwell and what a monster he is. I think Nancy Mace should take a victory lap, and she's going to do so live on our show right now. Congresswoman, that's the best introduction I can give you. I don't know if you heard that or not, but
very generous. Thank you very much, Benny. And it has been a lonely ride. And you all saw as 357 members of Congress from the right and the left vote down my resolution to expose all these predators in Congress. Both parties did that. When I went after Ilhan Omar and her brother husband to subpoena their immigration records, both parties shut it down. And they've been hiding this stuff for decades. I wrote to the speaker over the weekend. I said, we've got multiple members that need to be expelled from Congress. It's now or never, and we need to fight like hell and make sure this happens, because the lowest bar should be, if you rape your employees, you don't serve in Congress. Like, that's the bar. It is the lowest bar. And if we can't follow that, I don't know what we're doing anymore.
You know, it's not just you saying that. It's Eric Swalwell's staffers. 50 of them came out and said it, and then they went and told some of these stories. And the question that I have for you, Congresswoman, is what took so long exactly? Right. Eric Swalwell has been in Congress for 15 years. He served on the Intel Committee for 10 years, a bunch of prestigious committees. He ran for president. He went on MSNBC every single day, every hour of the day, seemingly. Ubiquitous on those programs. Then he runs for governor of California. He's top of the polls. What happened?
Well, the hypocrisy in this, Democrats have let this go for years. If not at least a decade. They knew about this and kept quiet about it until he ran for governor. And that's shameful. I'm very proud of the women. Number one, I want to say there's some people that are attacking the women that came forward. No, we're not going to do that. It takes courage. It takes bravery. One of the four actually went on the record with her name. She risked her career, her marriage, everything to go on the record. So I want to exemplify her bravery and her courage. But for the Democrats, like, it's very hard for women to come forward and know that they're going to be attacked. And even now those women are being attacked. So I'm not going to attack them at all. They're brave. But for the people on the left, the machine, the Democrat establishment that knew this was going on and protected him, they protected the predator. And they're the ones screaming Epstein the loudest. And it's sort of like, you knew this was happening. So don't scream to me about Epstein when you know there was a predator amongst yourselves. I remember, when I learned about Tony Gonzalez, I was one of the few members of Congress that demanded his resignation. Me and Lauren Boebert and Anna Paulina Luna and Thomas Massey, and I don't know and Tim Burchett, maybe nobody else, but like, there's only been a handful of us who've been very consistent on this issue. It's been very lonely, but I see the hypocrisy. Like, there should be one standard. Protecting a rapist isn't the standard. Like, that is, none of us should be doing that. And that's why women don't come forward. And that's why I've been harping on the Epstein stuff, and why I was so grateful for Melania's comments last week. She's a hero, saying that, she supports these women coming forward too.
Congresswoman, these people, they love Harvey Weinstein movies. They loved Harvey Weinstein when he was funding Obama. Harvey Weinstein was at the White House getting hugged by Michelle Obama. They're letting men in women's
bathrooms, men in women's locker rooms. They're letting mentally ill men watch an underage girl undress as if that's okay. That is the sickness that's going on in the left right now. And we're exposing it. At the same time, we as Republicans and we as conservatives need to support the women that do come forward on either side of the aisle, because we got to clean this mess up. And I want to restore trust in the institution.
Correct.
And to do that, that means we have to hold people accountable regardless of their party affiliation, which is why when we do this expulsion this week, it looks like it's going to be 2. I'm working for 4. I told the speaker there were 4 members that needed to go. If you steal money from FEMA, you got to go. $5 million. Like, what are we even talking about anymore? If you assault women, you're gone. So that should be like the lowest bar we have in Congress. And if we can't meet that, it's shameful.
So you said 2, maybe 4. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, McCormick, the female congresswoman that allegedly stole $5 million from FEMA, put it back in her campaign, her family's pockets. There's been an ethics investigation. Congressman Mills, there's been more that has come out about the alleged stolen valor, the alleged arms dealing, the alleged things that he's done to women, including domestic violence, allegedly, and the threats with those ex women and girlfriends in his lives. I mean, that's on par with someone who has not earned the right to be in Congress. And, that seat in particular, we won't win that seat in the general election with his behavior as well. But I'm holding everyone to the same standard. I told the speaker this weekend, we have 4 members, not just Tony Gonzalez. It's not just Eric Swalwell. We need to clean house.
So you believe that Eric Swalwell will be kicked out of Congress this week?
I do, and I believe that Tony Gonzalez will be right behind him.
Democrats, a considerable portion, maybe like 100 Democrats would have to vote with Republicans, right, in order to do this?
Yes, and I don't see any way out of this. I mean, there's no way after the videos with the alleged hooker and prostitute and porn star coming out, the stories from his former employees and staff, women coming forward. There's no way out of this. If he wants any dignity, which he doesn't deserve any, he should resign. Otherwise, we will expel him. My understanding, a deal has been made that we will do Tony Gonzalez and Swalwell this week. I'm pushing for more because we just can't get them out of Congress fast enough. And if we allow this kind of behavior to continue, both within our own ranks and within the Democrats, nothing is ever going to change. Yes. And it's not easy. This is not an easy time for Congress, but we have to show the American people we have honor, we have integrity, that they can trust us to do the right thing. Because if these people were employed in the private sector, they would have been fired a long time ago. And we just can't have people making these important decisions that are making money off of the backs of taxpayers, that are stealing money, or that are raping women. Like, we just can't have this in Congress. We're done with this.
Should there be criminal charges?
Absolutely.
Because what Eric Swalwell was doing was illegal. Can you talk us through that?
If there's any criminal wrongdoing, like the allegations about him paying an illegal under the table to nanny his children with campaign funds, that's obviously against the law. If you're stealing millions of dollars from FEMA and putting it in your back pocket or the pocket of your family members, or putting it in your political campaign, that's against the law. There are things, if you're on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and you're dealing arms overseas with Syria, or you were in Iran doing all kinds of things that the Ethics Committee is aware of, allegedly, that are against the law, you got to be gone. And I want to see them expedite these issues, but that's why expulsion to me is the only answer at this point.
So Eric Swalwell was allowed to work the way that he did. He behaved the way that he did because of this slush fund. Can you explain this slush fund? You've done a lot of work on this to try and expose it. How does it operate? And I think many Americans would be quite shocked to learn that they're paying for Eric Swalwell to do this.
Yes, up until 2018, there was a slush fund that taxpayers paid for that could settle disputes and harassment, sexual harassment by members of Congress and their employees or other Hill staffers, for example. And it's been hidden from the public. I've subpoenaed for those records. I have not gotten them yet, but I subpoenaed them through the Oversight Committee. As you know, I tried to do that resolution a few weeks ago, and that failed on the House floor. And so now what will happen is, before that information is public, you'll often see a member of Congress resign. But we need to shine light on this to see who's paid out money, and protect the victims at the same time, which is what I've done in my subpoena and in my resolution. I protected the personally identifying information of the victims, which every member of Congress that voted against me lied. Every Republican and every Democrat that voted against my measure to expose all of this lied. But as a survivor myself, I've always protected other survivors. And I want that information out there about who's used the slush fund, how much money was paid out, and which member of Congress was guilty. You deserve to know. It's your money.
Yeah. And everyone voted against you.
Yeah, 357 members, Republicans and Democrats alike. And then they lied about why they voted against it, because they couldn't go home to their districts, right? And these are some of the same people that are screaming Epstein. And,
right.
They're just a bunch of damn hypocrites is what they are.
Yeah, that's right. They all voted to put Bill Clinton back in the White House, right? It's like,
right.
Like we were all fully aware of Bill Clinton and what he does. And like 70 million Democrats voted to put Bill Clinton back in the White House.
This isn't new, but the populist politics that we have today, the people can make a difference. So if they rise up on social media, they put that pressure on that member of Congress or on the speaker or on the minority leader, like, this is making a difference. And we need people to chime in the next 24 hours before these resolutions are filed and put pressure on Congress to do the right thing. Don't let these people come home from Washington not embarrassed. If we don't do the right thing this week, they should be shamed when they get back home to their districts. And I don't care what their political affiliation is. They need to do the right thing, or they need to be shamed out of civil society and out of office, quite frankly.
Congresswoman, are there more Eric Swalwells in
100%.
Congress?
Yes, there are.
You know these things, right? Like you hear this stuff. Apparently, everyone was whispering about Swalwell for ages. We heard, there was like a it was like a not well kept secret.
I've heard stories about many members, and they're hard to fathom. And honestly, like when I started to hear stories last year, I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that this kind of thing is going on. And then all of a sudden, we start to see evidence, stories start to hit the papers, text messages, pictures, videos, all this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not that I'm naive to it. I'm very attuned to predators, but it's just like these people are elected. They have hundreds of thousands of people that instill their trust in them. They represent you in Congress, and this is their behavior in their off time. Like I am perplexed by it. I'm baffled by it, but it's just more convincing that that people are addicted to power, and they're addicted to money, and they're addicted to an abuse of power. And like, I'm someone like, I don't trade stocks because I am one of the poorest members of Congress. I'm not making money off of anything. I live in my office. I have very high ethical standards. And if you don't meet those ethical standards in my office, you're out. Like, I have, very high standards because people have entrusted me with the job. And so when I see these things happening, I'm like, I can't even, I'm stunned and I'm shocked at the stupidity of these people, and they got to go.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, refreshing at least to hear that at least Congress will like unite in order to kick
But we need
Swalwell
pressure
out.
from the people, Benny. We need
Yeah.
you. We need all the influencers. We need every voter that's out there pressuring Republicans and Democrats alike on social media. Get on their Facebook and on their X and just hammer it home that this needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. Like, the days are over where you can get away with anything. We want to show that there's not a two-tiered system of justice, that there's not one for the powerful and one for the people. It all needs to be the same system of justice for everyone, regardless of who they are.
So you were able to piss off Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton the other day.
She screamed at me. She was so mad at me.
She's so angry. Now Bill Gates, I believe, is coming in. What are you going to ask him? What do you want to know?
Well, I want to ask more about the hookers, the prostitutes, the STDs. I want to ask about some of the comments his wife has made. If he was alone in those massage parlors, in those rooms, how many times he was on the island, how many times he was on the jet. What did he know, and when did he know it? And I don't know how you ignore those things. It'll be very similar to Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Ooh, so you're gonna go,
man. It's gonna be so rough.
You're gonna go straight in. You're gonna go.
I got no time
Moab.
to waste.
Okay.
I got no time to waste, and I'll be asking the questions that are on everyone's heart and mind. Like, and I'm very direct about them. I get down and dirty if I have to. It doesn't matter. There were billionaires that were around. They saw these things. There were people in power that were around. I want to know what that email was that Epstein sent Bill Gates, what that was all about, and what kind of blackmail or extortion may or may not have been happening. I want answers to all the questions.
All right, that's the dog that isn't barking, right? Democrats certainly don't want their biggest donors to be exposed, but Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman, it's like been really
every single one of them.
Yes, and you're right. We were very thankful for Melania's statement last week. I don't know if you had anything to do with that, but it was a very good statement.
And it was so brave. She had so much courage to do that. I'm very proud of her, and I agree with her. So I'm proud to be an American with her at the helm.
Yeah, I'm like, man, could you? I wish we would have had that a year ago. Honestly, it's like statements like that, like really, really solid in order to clear the air. And it certainly did. I mean, people got quite scared afterwards because I was clearly given it from a legal, there's clearly plenty of lawyers that wrote that.
Shot, like, don't make up lies, right? Or we're going to fight back. And by the way, protect the victims. And that's what I took from it. That's what I read from it. And it was a great message, and one that we should all be carrying for her, carrying that torch for her so she doesn't do it alone.
All right. Well, Congresswoman, we support you and your mission to rip the rot out of Congress. We hope that it's more than 2 members. We hope that there's more. We hope that one of these days, Ilhan Omar is something that our audience cares a lot about. One of these days, the bell tolls for Ilhan Omar here.
Remember, our own party, they shoved that one out of the way when I tried to do it. So, and I've tried multiple times now, and I will keep doing it as long as I'm able.
That's exactly right. That's why you should follow Nancy Mace. She has almost 1 million subscribers right here on X. You should follow Nancy Mace because not only does is she one of these people that are just right because in her fights, and even though she's fighting a lonely fight, but also her content is very entertaining and heartwarming at times. So thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you for all you do, Benny. We love you.
Godspeed. All right.
Godspeed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is always a fun show. We always love it when we can get sort of a, when we can just like kind of dynamically work through subject matter here. Good opportunity, frankly, to stick it to Democrats who have been sticking it to their staff. These gross people. I mean, it's sick. These people are really like they're on like honestly, it's amazing the iron law of the universe and wokeness. Like, accuse your enemies of that which you are guilty of. The weapon that you form will be used against you. Pride cometh before destruction. How many more times does it need to be said in the same way? Right? You gonna be. Eventually, it's gonna be you. The boy who cried wolf. Eventually, it's gonna be you. The woman doth protest too much. Eric Swalwell on TV every single day calling Trump a rapist. You crap in his pants calling Trump a Russian agent. Crap in his pants talking about Epstein. Every single day, this guy. And lo and behold, looky. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fun to be part of the downfall. Eric Swalwell has been a complete jerk to me. Should I publish some of the, I don't know, I haven't even gone through and looked at some of the, he used to text me or like DM me like mean and taunting things like, you're a Russian agent and stuff. I should go back and go publish this today. I think I will, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if we have some solid gold in there. You should have solid gold in your account, your bank account. Make sure that you are locked in when there is economic ups and downs, and there certainly are today. Get gold with Advantage Gold. Go gold today as the world economy resets. I guarantee you of this, scarcity will continue to be the driving economic motivator for all transactions. You're seeing that with oil right now. You see it with gold. Ladies and gentlemen, you can move your retirement savings into physical gold and silver, tax-free and penalty-free. Powerful IRS-approved strategy that's 100% legal and 100% smart. Get started by texting Benny, B-E-N-N-Y, to 85545. Text Advantage Gold today. Benny to 85545 right now. Okay, well, that's the show today. Our verse of the day, Psalms 94. Who rises up for me against the wicked? Who stands up for me against the evil doers? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you are standing there. God will judge you by your fruit. God will judge you by your fruit. Christ is constantly talking about this. Like, look at the actions that you are taking in this world. You can't be perfect. You're not perfect. You are sunken and fallen and sinful. You need mercy. You need grace. You need forgiveness from Christ Jesus our Lord. But look at your actions. What are your actions? What do they say about you? That's how you will be judged. It doesn't matter how many prayers you say. It doesn't matter what church you attend. It doesn't matter what you memorize in the Bible. What are your actions? Are you good to your family? Are you good to the people around you? Are you fighting the wicked, as it says here in Psalms? Are you standing up against evil? We try our best on this program. I mean, this program effectively is me banging on against like what I think is these literal evils in our culture and land. And we're fighting to protect our children. I have little kids. It's my daughter's 4th birthday this weekend. That's what we were celebrating. And that's my motivation. Fight evil with us. March with us. Stand with us. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.